All right, you guys know what it is. The Chop Shop, DJ Jewels, Queen G, DJ Nesto.
Yo,
how you guys feeling?
Pretty good, bro.
Pretty good.
We've been hit up by a lot of DJs that have been wanting to get on the show.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? I'm ready to do that, you know what I mean? But there was one guy that I wanted to get on this show first as a DJ. And this guy right here, this guy has been holding it down in the high desert for a very, very long time. I consider him a really, really good friend of mine. I consider him a true pioneer. Everybody knows this guy. This guy right here is a straight legend in my book.
Yes. Thank you, dog. I appreciate it.
In a lot of
Thank you,
people's
bro.
book, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, dog. Appreciate it.
No, you know what? So let's clap it up for my boy DJ Toro right
Yo,
here.
what's up, man? What's up? Hey.
How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good. I feel like special. Like I never got introduced like that. So
Hey.
I feel like all like tingly and like warm. Like, ay Dios mío, you know, like what do I do? Like,
So you know what, bro? Before we start, man, you know, like I said, this is a DJ episode, special one. I just want to take this time. We got some really bad, some sad news today.
Oh, yeah.
And rest in peace to DJ Toucan. DJ Toucan passed away, I believe it was earlier this morning. And I just want to say prayers to his family. Yes. And and to Toucan. And I know Toro, Toucan was a very, very close friend of yours.
yeah, he was like my brother, man. You know, I met him when he was 17. You know, we started from the Black Star days. We started at Angels Roadhouse to Karma, Social, whatever you want to call it, to all those events. And him moving to Pomona. So we were super close. Through the years, of course, just like anybody, everybody goes on their way. But we always talked, chopped it up and always just caught up. Especially for each other's birthdays, it was one thing that we would always do: make sure that we called each other. And so to get that news this morning was, I'll be honest, hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts.
Yeah,
It sucks.
Yeah.
But I think the best thing that everybody says is life goes on.
Yes.
So we keep going, and I mean just go from there.
And to keep his legacy alive by us keep DJing, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what he did. He was a big, big piece of what's going on now in the HD because he branched out and did his thing. You know what I'm saying?
If you guys remember the party days with Black Star, Black Star
Right.
Entertainment,
Right.
everybody, they were part of all that.
crazy.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
DJ Toucan, we fly,
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, for sure.
So-
So we got HD 96.3 in the building right
Yeah.
now. So I got to talk to you, bro, about the station. The station is it's not high desert hip hop. It is hip hop in the high desert. And I'm glad that you are here, bro, because you were around when there was no hip hop scene out here.
No, man, it was like, there was no radio station, there was no hip hop scene, there was nothing. It was, how can I say it? If at that time, if anybody brought it up, it was ridiculed. It was a joke. It was like people would just be like, hip hop in the desert.
Yeah.
Nah, what is that? That's whack. Sucks. And like, nah. And if anybody tries to, who's gonna represent the desert? Right. No, I'm from the Ville.
Yeah.
Or I'm from the mean streets of Apple Valley. People would laugh at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in time, it took off.
Hey, back in the day, what was it? Like country, KCal?
You know what? I remember coming up here in, I want to say 89, 90.
Yeah. Mhm.
So, it gives my age. I'm old as shit. So, I think there was a station, it's funny enough that 1031 back in the day was called Q1031. And that was like a Kiss FM type station in a way.
Yeah.
And that was that. And then, of course, you had Y102. And then you had, Cat Country, which is part of us, which also used to be K-Frog, if you guys remember that.
K-Frog, yeah.
But of course, everybody knew that. It was just mainly, country. And then just kind of a little bit of your top 40.
Right.
I mean, if you listen to what the highway stations now, what is it, FM 98, 99?
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
That's really what it was.
Yeah.
Old school.
Yeah,
But you
and
know
then-
what? But the rock scene was real popular back then too. Remember?
Oh, man. The metal scene was, I mean, you're talking about, true story or not, I remember partying with Gwen Stefani and then Brad Noel in Hesperia. You know?
What?
Yeah.
I kid you not.
That was way back.
Way back, like way before. Yeah, it was in the spirit. They came up to do a show at the community, the one right up here, right up the street, the community, not the community center, the one on the Spirit Road.
Yeah.
They came up to do a show.
Was Sublime. It was Sublime.
It was Sublime,
and
yeah.
No
Brad
Doubt.
was still around. They came.
Dang.
That's when Sublime was taking off, and No Doubt was like literally just.
Yeah.
They
Barely
just came
coming
up.
out?
Yeah, exactly.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's
and I
what's up.
think I don't know if I'm right. I might be wrong, but I think Green Day was part of it because Green
Green
Day.
Day? Green Day was.
Yeah, Green Day actually did a show up here
Dang,
too.
that's crazy.
And also suicidal tendencies. You
Suicidal
remember them?
tendencies, yeah.
Damn.
They were
Damn.
huge here, yeah.
That's
Dang.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, of course, the Flight Theater, if you guys remember the Flight Theater,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
up the street. Yeah, that
Yeah.
they were
Yeah.
doing shows there.
Yeah.
But I
That's
remember that
crazy.
show happened at the community, and then after that, we ended up going to like an after spot in Hesperia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were there, and I was like, but I remember like meeting her and talking to her, and I was like, that's crazy. Like, where you see them there and to
Yeah.
where they're now, you're like,
That's crazy.
So how does it feel to you? So like I said in the beginning, there was no hip hop scene out here.
Yeah.
It was dead. Now we have an official hip hop station, and you are pretty much like the face of this station.
well, you know what? Now you got to remember though, when hip hop came around, I remember I was in school and I discovered 991, and that's when it was like, because I remember hearing Summertime, and I was like, what is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
That sounds
Fresh
so clear.
Prince.
Because
Yeah.
you couldn't get power up here. You couldn't
Yeah.
get the beat.
Couldn't get K.
Nothing.
You couldn't get
nothing.
K-Day,
Couldn't get
nothing.
nothing.
You know, so I remember like in my car, I was driving like my truck, and I like tuned in, and I was like, I heard literally like Summertime, and I'm like, what is 99.1? And I was like, whoa, what the, like this is a station.
Yeah.
And then it kept going, yeah. And I remember like back then, and so that's what I remember like when people started discovering like, well,
Right.
not up here, but at least there was something up here where
Yeah,
we can
yeah,
listen
yeah.
to music and hip hop.
Yeah. Yeah.
There wasn't
Besides
never
country.
besides country, you know. So that was our local station until we launched HD, and then that became, you know, like High Desert
High
Hip Hop and
Desert,
R&B.
Right. I tell them all the time, I love doing this podcast shit because I get to interview people that I've known for a long time,
Yeah.
right? Like I've known you, bro. How long we know each other?
Man, I gotta say, when I met you, you had to be in your teens.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
probably was like, how old are you? You were 15? Yeah, I probably met you when I was like 16,
And I know I
17.
met you before Danny, or was it through Danny? Because I think I met you before Danny.
I met
Yeah.
you through Vargas.
Well, through Vargas, that's right.
Vargas
That's right.
first.
That's
E.
right.
Vargas, shout out to
E.
E.
Vargas.
Vargas.
Yeah, that's right. Shouts
Yeah.
out. That's right. So that's how I
Yeah.
met you, and then after that's how I met Danny.
Yeah, and then Danny.
Yeah, Danny and everything.
Yeah.
That's even the Danny Boy Records.
Yeah, all DBR, baby.
DBR, exactly.
I've known you for so long, bro, but I feel like I don't know you though yet. You know what I mean? Like your background and all that. And I feel like a lot of people in the community don't know either. They know Toro. They know
Yes.
DJ Toro. You know what I'm saying? Where are you originally from?
So originally, I actually grew up in La Puente.
Puente.
Okay.
I knew it.
Yeah,
I
that's
knew
where I
it,
grew
yeah.
up. Yeah, I grew up
But
in
you
La
sensed
Puente.
it or what?
Yeah, I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah,
You
so
had vibes on it?
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, so how was it growing up in La Puente, bro?
Oh man, it was what you expect. How about that? Let's leave it at
There
that.
you
It's,
go.
it's what you expect. But it was dope. It was definitely you know, and then I remember coming here, you know, my parents wanted to move. I remember that they told me like we're going to, I thought they said Big Bear. And I'm like, the mountains. And I didn't realize it was, you know, Victorville and Big Bear, you know. And originally we were going to get a house in Victorville, and that deal fell through. So we were like, I'm like, all right, I'm going back. Like, nah, you know. But you know, we had to come up here. We came up here, and then we found a house in Apple Valley, and I was just like,
Apple Valley.
Culture
like,
shock,
hey,
huh?
yo, we literally we're in BFE. Like there was nothing.
Nothing.
All that there was where I live, literally there was an AM, PM, and a Circle K, and they're still there.
At the
And-
corner of
and
Kiowa
Coyotes.
and Bear Valley
And
Road.
Coyotes.
Right there. That was
Bro,
it.
Back in the day, it used to take like about what, like 10 minutes, like not even 10 minutes to get to the freeway back then.
Man, yeah.
There
it
used to be
was
like 3 lights
that
down Bear
was
Valley.
it. That was it, man. You go to the freeway, we'd be there. Now it's like,
Yeah.
you got to camp out. Like literally, you're like, if you feel that you got to pee when you get off the freeway, go.
Yeah.
Don't
Don't
yeah.
wait, don't
Don't
wait,
wait to
don't
get
hold
to Apple
it.
Valley.
Don't
Don't
hold
hold it. Even if it's like 2 in the morning, believe me, I've tried to do that. Nah.
Or learn
nah.
the back routes.
Yeah, back routes. Yeah, I maybe
Not
get
even
to
the
the
back
college
routes.
and I'm
Not
like,
even
nah.
the back routes.
Once I hit that low hill past the college, it's like, I gotta go.
Yep.
I'm glad they
Yep.
put like that gym there and everything, you know?
Yep.
Crazy, crazy. So
Yeah.
when did the DJ thing start happening for you?
Man, so the DJ thing started when I was young. Literally, I was 12 years old. I started, you know, with a few friends as DJ, and it just always caught my attention. I always had the love for music, and I DJed with a few friends, and then it just kind of went on its own, and that was it. And then I left to school. I went to school. I graduated from Apple. And then I went to Arizona to actually, and a lot of people don't know, I'm actually certified diesel and auto mechanic.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember
you
you
went to
talking-
UTI,
Yeah,
right?
I went to
That, bro,
UTI.
and I didn't know
UTI.
that. That's tight.
Yeah.
UTI.
So out in Arizona, I got a dang, it's a grant. Not a,
Yeah.
why was I thinking scholarship? No, I got a grant.
grant.
So I got a pretty good amount of money, and I said, you know what? They're like, well, you can do with it whatever you want. So I said, well, you know what? Put half towards my loan, and I had half. And I was like, okay, what do I do? I had no idea. So I went to a pawn shop, and I found some speakers. And I found some CD players and a mixer.
There you go.
And I found an
Awesome.
old, like one of the original like Radio Shack DJ mixers. And I was like,
Yeah.
and the guy's like, you could buy it all for like, I think he said like 50 or $60. And I was like, get the fuck outta here.
Take it.
So I did, and I took it home. So on weekends, we would party, and that kind of brought it back again for me to do it.
Yes, what's up?
And then when I moved back, I got a job. I worked for Chrysler for 5 years as a certified mechanic. And then I started DJing, just kind of like, why not, And I started doing parties and stuff. And that's when I started meeting a few different people. And it's funny enough, this year is actually my 25th year I'm DJing professionally.
Really?
So I've been doing this professionally for 20. I started I could say 99. My girlfriend would say 99 because I DJed her grandparents' 50th in 99. But I recall like 2000 is when I more met. And I met a good friend of mine. His name's Henry. I always call him Old School. He's the one who introduced me into doing private events and weddings. I was doing clubs and stuff. You guys remember, we started, I think, Jules, you remember Caliente back at the old Blue Pear. I think Jenny, you probably remember that.
Yeah, Hesperia, right?
No, right there where the
that's
Kaiser
right,
building
Kaiser,
is.
Kaiser,
Yes. So that's where we started. I was doing like stuff here and there, and then we started with that club, and that was, where I met Marco from IDJ, and I met Manny and everybody there, and that's when I met Harold, Mr. Wizard, and everybody else.
Crazy.
So we started doing, but I was doing other stuff here and there, like in LA. At 15, I DJ'd at the Florentine Gardens for Contest for Power, which was like kind of surreal. It was for Power Tools.
Oh, okay.
And that was surreal because it was like, I submitted a mix and it was like, because I honestly, like the first music I played was house. If you guys remember Deep House.
Yeah, Deep House.
That was like, Deep House. Like, you're talking about like.
That was the shit.
Yeah,
back
like
then.
the bucket heads and all that stuff, the bomb
the party
and
crews,
the raves,
the raves, bro. Yeah, man, I remember.
the Rebels.
Yeah, the Rebel Cruise, man. I remember.
with the whistle. Yeah.
I remember telling people about Mr. Bubbles rave in Fullerton. I remember going to that. I remember going to the original Nocturnal when Pasquale did it at a mansion in Hollywood.
Damn.
And when you parked, mind you, was in the Hollywood Hills. So when we got there, they had to put you in a van that took you up.
Yeah, because there's no parking space.
Yeah.
There's no parking
and
space.
then he had the original like carousels, but Nocturnal was actually his EDC.
That's tight.
He wanted Nocturnal to be his big event, not EDC.
tight.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how EDC took off.
Yeah.
Wow.
But so EDC started literally in like a warehouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably a bit bigger than where we're at now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's how EDC started. Nocturnal started better, and EDC is now the one that.
That took over.
So I remember all those raves, man, those party crew
Oh,
days.
yeah,
and all
yeah. It was
that.
popping back then. So did you have any kind of musical background, like with your family or anything? Like,
So my dad was huge on music. Like mind you, the first time ever I remember is my parents will tell you this story. One day, if anybody that's Latino ever remembers Amanda Miguel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my dad tells a story that one day they were in LA somewhere and they lost me. They couldn't find me. Well, when they found me, I was literally in front of a store, sitting down, listening to her music.
Yeah.
I think my dad said I was like 3 or 4.
Oh,
Wow.
And so my dad bought me that album. So I remember that being, I don't remember. The first album I ever remember getting was Michael Jackson Thriller.
oh, man.
Yeah.
That was,
you
the
started
album.
off right.
Yeah, and the jacket. I had the jacket. I had the black jacket, the
That's
zipper
tight.
jacket. I remember that.
Oh,
Yeah.
You still got it?
No, man, I wish. No, man, I wish. You know how much
What
that
about
might
the
be. You know how much that might be worth. So that's when I remember like my first. So my musical background, I would say, mainly came from my dad
Hip-hop.
because he was always playing music. Yeah, he was always. And so I even to this day, like, there's certain music that even when I'm feeling a certain type of way, I play it. And I don't care how I'll do this, but I think I listen to it more on my own
Yeah.
than around people. But there's still, like, or even when we're at the house, I'll put on. He's surprised, like, you remember? Like, I remember all that.
They remind
I
you
grew up,
stuff.
I grew up with all that. We all grew up with parents. Like the young kids now, like everybody asks, like, why is the 90s and 2000s so good right now? Because everybody who's our age, their kids, they grew up listening to ours, so they love that music. They hate a lot of the new stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why a lot of the 90s and 2000s parties right now are great because,
Exactly.
the music is
Yeah, my
popping.
nephew over here, he's 15 and he likes all the old stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I
He
mean?
even dresses like it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's crazy. So did you come from a big family? Do you have a lot of siblings or like?
Actually, no. There's only 4. Well, technically, there's 5 of us. I had a sister that was, I wasn't born when she passed away, but there's 4 of us. So I have an older brother, 2 older sisters, and I'm the baby. So I'm the runt.
Oh, okay.
So I'm the youngest.
So 2 and
shit.
2, huh?
Yeah, so 2
It's
and 2.
like my family, 2
Yeah,
and 2.
so 2 and 2. So I don't come from a big family. Now, my mom's side, that's a big family. My mom came from 17 kids.
Oh, wow.
My dad came from a small
One of
family.
those old school Mexican
Yeah.
families, huh?
Yeah, my dad came from
Yeah.
3, and there was only 2 left. And then my grandma, my grandma passed away in 96. So, but he came from a small, but my mom, no, man. When we go to the motherland, it's like, oh, your tia and your tio. And I'm like, that's your cousin. I'm like, that's like the 8th cousin I met. And I just got in the door. Like,
Hey, cuz.
Yeah.
Nice to meet
I
you.
went to the store, came back, and I heard that's my uncle. And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, are you shitting me? I'm like, wow, okay. Like,
That's how I feel when I go with Joelle, because I'm related to Joelle's through marriage.
Uh-huh.
So my wife is Joelle's cousin. So when I go to a big family event, I don't know everybody.
Yeah.
So then my wife tells me, "Oh, that's my aunt, that's my cousin," and then even her mom comes up to her and tells you, "Oh, that's your cousin." My wife's like, "What? That's my cousin?"
Yeah.
Like, man, we always meet new people every time.
No,
we have
I
an
can't
event.
tell you how many times people know, like, oh, yeah, I'm related to Joel's, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you know what? I think the tables have turned for you, though. I think everybody knows who you are more than Katrina now.
Yes. Yes.
The family knows who you are more than Katrina now.
but I mean, like, yeah, I'm related to Joel's. I'm like, of course you are.
Yeah,
of course
bro.
you're related
Yeah,
to.
of
Yeah.
course, yeah.
Oh, that's my cousin.
Like I always say, I'm more related to Joel's than my wife is to him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
crazy.
Yeah. So on that side, that's where I come from, a big family on my mom's side.
cool.
But for us, it's always been 4 of us.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So, you know, one thing about you, bro, like, I give you a lot of credit for a lot of things, but one of them is that you are very good when it comes to residency, okay? Now, a lot of DJs don't know the value of residency. I feel like they don't really care about it too much like they used to back in the day. How do you go about keeping a good residency for yourself in a location? Because you got like multiple residencies.
Yes.
You know what I'm
I've held some residencies for a while. Honestly, my longest residency this year, I've been at Gators for 10 years.
wow.
So
Hey,
that's
we
my
gotta clap for
longest.
that, yo.
So that's my longest.
Yeah.
That's my longest that I had. My second longest was at Tequila Hoppers. Unfortunately, we shut down on of all days, Valentine's Day.
Wow.
We shut down, and that one, I want to say I was probably 8 years there. You know, I was there doing the Tuesdays and then the Fridays, and I went to I was always there every other Friday.
Yeah.
And then I did Tuesdays for a while, and that kind of ended. COVID really killed a lot of that stuff. You know, but as far as like residency, I remember for a long time, I remember back in the days when I started doing clubs, at that time, it wasn't popular to be a resident. Everybody said, you know, travel, or it's better to just go here. And I was like, okay, but why not? I mean, I don't know. I've always been a person that I don't do the norm. I don't like to, you know, if something's hyped, I don't like it.
Yeah.
If somebody tells you do this, I don't. I mean, I can tell you this, Jules, you know, for the longest time until last year, I finally got a Mac to DJ.
Right,
After
yeah.
that, I was PC.
Yep.
Yeah.
My whole time. Literally 24 years of however Serato came, I've always been PC.
Yeah.
I finally got a Mac last year, and everybody was like, and so many people shocked. You got a Mac?
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like,
I
yes.
was shocked.
You do
Yes,
your
I
own,
was
you do your
shocked
own
that
thing.
you
You
did
do
that.
your own thing.
Yeah, so I've always been like,
you're not a follower.
Yeah, so I don't try. I've never tried to follow. You know, there's obviously you're gonna follow things. I can never say that I'm not a follower because there's things that you're gonna follow. You know, so I think that's great. But in residency, like I think the thing that's overlooked on that is as long as you're getting paid, it's consistent.
Yeah.
With traveling or going to different places, you always have to be. What if I don't get booked? Or what if they book somebody?
It's not
or
a
what?
guarantee.
It's not a guarantee. So at least with the residency, you know it's there. You know you're going to be there, and when you're not, and you can always rely on it when you don't have something going on. Especially with me in private events. If I don't have a private event,
You can lean on that.
I have my residency.
Yeah.
So it's like a regular stable job.
And
Yeah.
you build your fan base too.
Exactly.
With those, you know, that core of people, you know what I mean?
Yep. And then you'll be surprised how many people still come back, and then they do, and then
Right.
you'll meet people, and it's crazy to me to see the cycle of. It's crazy to me to see the cycle of people when I started DJing and now their kids are coming in.
Yeah.
Oh,
And you're
man.
sitting there going,
You're like, your mama was wild back in the day. over
I
here.
know your mom from way back in the
yeah, and
day.
then like you wild like your mama. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Oh, I know who your mama is. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So you see them come in and it's like, it's crazy. You
But
know?
you know what though? Private gigs get to piggyback off of residency too because
Oh, yeah.
Like how many private gigs have you think you booked since being just a resident somewhere?
Oh man,
Like,
I am
like, it
going to
just
literally
keeps
say
going,
probably
right?
like 60-65% of my private gigs I've gotten from residencies where I've gotten it from, you know, bars and clubs, DJing. That's where, because people
Right.
hear you. So a lot of times people, you know, that, oh man, you're dope. And when
Yeah.
you know, when you do your residencies, a lot of times you don't DJ at a bar or club like you do at a wedding.
Right.
You know, sometimes you're going to DJ different music, but when you DJ, that's where people hear you like, oh man, you're dope, your blend, your music,
You can
your
be
selection.
creative with your mixing and all that stuff.
Exactly. So at a wedding, you really, I mean, yeah, you can. Nowadays you can, because nowadays the people that are getting married, honestly, they're ratchet. They want to party.
Yeah.
So,
Hell
you know, they
yeah.
hear all that. So it's like you can get away. I kid you not. Like, of all the people now that I meet in the last few years in private events, I remember, Jules, you could probably remember this. Let's say as far back as 7 to 10 years ago, if you did a wedding and you played a dirty song, it was literally taboo.
Yep.
Literally, like, they would look at you like,
Yep.
What? Take that off.
Yep.
Yeah.
and
Take
then
that off.
and then now
They
I
want
meet
it.
with brides and grooms and I tell
Where's
them,
the
hey, do you want
ratchet
dirty
music?
And they tell you, look, if I'm gonna listen to Ain't No Fun, I don't want with that. They want to hear what
want
the
the
song
dirty
says.
version.
raw
They want to hear to the
explicit
window, to the
shit.
wall, to the sweat drop down my balls. They don't want to hear to the window, to the wall,
sure.
to the no.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
want to
yeah.
hear it.
Yeah.
They want to hear that dirty version.
Exactly. So I think it's like an evolution that's changed because of the people that we're into clubs, they want to party in their wedding like they were at a, they want to party.
Yeah,
they're drinking. What do you do at a club? You drink, you party. What are you going to do at your wedding? Or even at the craziest thing is that like either quinceañeras or baptisms.
Yeah.
You're like, the baby's asleep. And they're like,
That's when it goes down.
Yeah.
the baby turned 3.
They want to have a night to remember. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like the baby don't remember. You know what I mean?
It's all about the DJ. The DJ makes a night to remember. You know what I mean?
Joselito got baptized. Let's go.
Cheers.
So from a DJ perspective, is there like do's and don'ts that you guys as DJs like and dislike when like the crowd comes up to you, like either like at a private event?
Request. Yes, request.
Yes, that's the number one.
Okay.
The biggest
That's the
pet
number
peeve.
one.
I hate it.
I do it sometimes. I know I probably get on people's nerves. But
Here's the thing, like we have become such a generation of entitled people now. So the way that people are coming up for requests now is aggravating.
Yes.
It's literally like, it boils me because they just come up with like, play this. And of course the old shoving the phone. And you're like,
yeah.
Or they come up drunk.
yes.
And they're all up on your equipment. Like,
Or the drunk
bro,
breath. Can you play?
back up.
Yeah.
Damn, like you smell like ass. You know
Or,
what I mean?
or they request some dumbass song. Where
Yeah.
you're like,
Oh,
It kills
really?
the vibe. It
right
kills
now,
the
I'm
vibe.
gonna play that.
You know
right now?
what I hate at the clubs is when they request, especially like when Tennessee whiskey was hot.
Yeah.
Somebody wanted to hear it at midnight, and you're like, it's a country song. Why am I going to play it here?
Yeah.
It's a
Play it on
ballad.
another
It's
part.
like a-
Ballad.
it's
Like,
a slow
tell me in the
song,
beginning.
yeah.
I'm playing
I'll play it for the last
R&B,
song.
yeah.
Or of course the other one. If you play it, I'm gonna get laid. I'm glad you are, but why do I gotta play it for you? You know? Or they come up to you now like, oh, I don't have any cash, but I have Cash App. Who carry at least $20 in your
Right?
pocket?
Put it in your tip
Crazy,
jar.
man.
Yeah.
You know, like, but people like, they're so rude. So that's like the biggest thing, like, I think with DJs, and especially I see just everybody talking about is requests. The way that people request are
So
rude.
where's your patient level at right now? For doing it for so long? Because I run out of patience, bro.
I do. There's times that I do, and I think because I've done it for so long that you get used to it. It's kind of like a pain when you have a pain somewhere and you're used to it.
Hey, Nesto knows.
Yeah.
Come on.
He does. I'm the one that's like, hey, just I'll handle him. Like,
Yeah.
relax. I'm like,
Yeah,
hey,
I
bro,
can't do it
I'll
no
play
more,
it right
bro.
now. I'll play it
How
right
do you
now.
do it, bro?
Well, look, so on a professional level, like you were saying, like, you know, with bars and clubs, you tend to, you know, the rule is always the customer is always right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, when you do a wedding, you're more professional. So there, a lot of times you already meet with the bride and any party. You tell them, hey, I don't mind requests, but I'm giving you a form to let me know what you want to hear. If you come up or the person who's paying you for the party come up and ask me, you know what? I'll play anything. I got no problem.
Yeah.
It's when you get people at a party that come up, especially the tias, who come up, are you going to play Too Short? And you're like, this literally happened at a party once. This guy was nagging me, and I got to the point where I took out my card and I gave it to him and I said, look, bro, when you pay me, I play whatever the fuck you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he looked at me and I was like, you know, and the person was there and they were like,
Yeah.
you know, because it's like,
It's crazy.
you know, they want to, you know, especially the tios. Oh, I want to play, put me some Ramon or some Chente. This is not, there's not for you to sit in the corner.
Yes. Me and Joel's
Yeah.
DJ at a,
People want to party.
Me and Joel's DJ at a wedding. It was down the hill somewhere.
LA.
It was in LA, and the dude was so drunk. We were up on the balcony where you got to walk upstairs.
Oh,
This dude was so drunk. He came up there and he kept pushing on us like, "Hey, play this." I'm like, "I'll play right now, bro." Hey, no, play it now, like now. And I told I had to go get the groom, and I'm like, "Hey, you need to tell your uncle that he needs to calm down,
Tell your tío to
or we're gonna bring him down ourselves."
Yeah, cálmate. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And it turned into a big old thing where I was like, I'll play whatever you want.
We were getting ready to fight like 50 people that day.
We told her, we'll play whatever you want, but as far as him coming up here and being all drunk and acting stupid, no.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Whenever I have like a consultation with a client or whatever, I'm gonna do their wedding or something, I tell them straight up now. I say, look, I'll do like you said, customer's always right. I'll do what you want. I said, but I don't deal with no disrespect, no aggressiveness, because I'm a DJ that I'll hit you, I'll swing you.
And as you know, and as long as you come correct, as long as you come correct to the customer, they'll respect it. They'll be like, you know, I got you.
Yeah.
And the cool thing is like, and it's not like they know if they see somebody, they'll be the first one to be like, yeah, they bugging you?
Right.
Yeah, and they'll tell them to leave.
Yeah.
You know, and that's great. Like at least they got your back on that aspect, you know? So that's at least the professionalism. Now, as far as bars, you know, you have security and all that, but you know, you want to make sure that these people, they show up and they drink and they spend money, which is what you want them to do. So you want to keep them happy, but you can't keep
everybody
80 to 200 people happy.
Impossible.
It's hard.
It's hard.
So you got to find that middle ground. But then it's when you find that middle ground, it's when, and you're literally vibing, it's when you get that, can you play some Bad Bunny? Dre brought out a new song and I'm feeling good. You just, no. And then you don't play it. Again, I'm leaving in 5 minutes. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, go.
Bye.
Bye.
You know? Or, you know, you play it and they come out, I was in the bathroom. That's not my fault.
Play it again.
Can you play it again?
Play it again.
Number
Fuck
one, you
that
didn't tip.
shit.
Number two, you didn't tip again. Number three, if you can't control your bladder, you got to shit. That's not my fault. Go. Like, that's not my fault. You know, I didn't play your favorite song.
That's right. That's
You know?
right.
Hey,
So-
now I know besides doing hip hop, you also do Spanish radio, right?
Oh, yeah, Spanish radio. Yep.
How long you been doing that for?
Man, so Spanish radio, I started going on 2 years. I started in September of 2023. And that was, I tell you what, never, ever in my life did I ever think that I would do Spanish radio. Never.
Why not?
Never. I never thought that I had the voice for it. Honestly, man, if you hear my show, even till now, like I get stuck on words.
Yeah,
I'm an
you
pocho.
do good. You do good though.
But
You know-
sometimes it's hard though. Even though you speak Spanish, it's hard
It
to.
is. You know what? So when I did the first time I did my show, my Spanish show, they gave me 3 day notice. Hey, you start your show in the 10 to 2, and I was and I learned the computer, and I was like, so I had already done my HC show.
Yeah.
So I got to it. So the thing that was hard is I think in English and I have to talk in Spanish.
Translate it.
So I caught myself sometimes. Literally, I was talking pocho, like X 103.1. Estás escuchando to the music. Wait. So
Yeah.
you catch yourself. So in time, I had to, like, I'm gonna say this, like in all my life, I've always done it on my own.
Yeah.
So when I did that, it was like, I have to
Train yourself.
train myself and I had to train my brain. So even till now, it's like, I'm good. I mean, another thing I thought I would never ever do was morning radio. And now I'm on like X 6 to 10.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So to me, it was like, and I literally, they put me in spots now where I'm in morning radio 6 to 10, and then I'm on primetime, or afternoon drive, which is 3 to 7.
Right.
On H2O's, I mean, you're on, when you're on your show,
primetime,
you're on primetime too. So, so it's a little bit, it's not necessarily pressure, but you have to kind of ump the ante as far as when you
definitely.
do it, In radio middays, it's a more relaxing vibe because people at that time tend to be more relaxed. And that's something that you learn from so many people that I've dealt with in radio, and met in radio, that have always taught me, like, it's kind of like those unwritten rules.
Right.
This is what it is. You can go out of it, but then eventually you're going to come back to it because it flows. It flows better. And you go, that's one of those things, again, where you follow. Where it's like, you know what? Like, might as well, because so many people have been trained to it. That
It's a habit already.
You can change it, and you have a few people like Howard Stern who changed it. You
Right.
know,
Yeah, he did.
But with Howard Stern, he
different.
brought the room for everybody, from the Breakfast Club to Big Boy to everybody. Because of him, you got shock jocks. Nobody knew that.
Yeah,
He was
exactly.
able to, and now, I mean, come on, look at what you listen to on morning radio.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
and then for everybody in Spanish here in LA, everybody remembers Humberto Luna.
Yeah, Humberto Luna.
He was literally the one who started with the laugh
He
tracks.
was a legend.
He was a legend, and because of him, you got all these people now. Every morning show has to have a laugh track, and it's like,
Yeah.
like, nah, I'm not like that.
So I want to get your take on it, since we're talking about radio, because, obviously podcasting is like the new thing now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
And I know you've heard this plenty of times.
Yes.
I've heard this plenty of times. We've heard radio's dead. What's your take on that?
Oh, I'll tell you this.
I don't believe that, bro.
When Sirius and XM radio came out, before they were Sirius XM, I heard it, radio's gonna die. Radio's dead.
Before that came out.
Before that, no, right when it came
right
out.
when it came out.
You gotta remember that
Okay.
it was XM first and Sirius came
Yeah,
out after.
Sirius, yeah.
So when that came out, everybody said radio's gonna die because Sirius and XM, and of course when Howard
take it
Stern
over.
went to XM, everybody, radio's dead.
Yeah.
Radio has been dying for years now. Everybody's been saying that, but for some reason, it's still there. Now, mind you, with all the streaming services from Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube, every once in a while, somebody eventually still tunes into radio.
Right.
Yeah.
So even when you're around town, sometimes when you're going from here to the store, you don't have time to set up your, and you put on the radio. Now, if you happen to catch a good song, or a good segment,
You stay listening to
you
it.
stay listening to it. So now you catch yourself listening to it, whether it be any station. So radio will always be there. And of course, radio always relies on commercials.
Yeah.
And where are you gonna, unlike podcasts, I mean, you can sell your show, but when do you put commercials? In radio, people can still sell. And as long as they're selling, people are gonna tune in.
It's gonna be like it's gonna be like a piggyback on everything.
Yeah.
The radio is, because
Yeah.
eventually you're gonna get tired of listening to all your playlists, and you're gonna be like, I want to listen to something else.
Right.
Yeah.
What do? You go straight to the radio.
Or you want to hear someone speak.
Yeah,
You
go
know,
straight
a
to the radio.
personality.
You'll be surprised. It's like, I think one of the biggest things right now too is you've seen all the streaming services on for TV.
Yeah.
Everybody. But you'll be surprised at how many people are like, oh man, I miss a good commercial. And you're like,
Yeah.
Basic
Commercial.
cable.
like basic, like a commercial. And they're like, you do. And you're like,
Who watches
Yeah,
commercials
yeah,
nowadays?
like it wasn't demand back then. If you missed it, you missed
you
it.
missed it. Yeah,
It is what
exactly.
it is.
You know, so now
Should've-
people are like, oh man, I miss a commercial. I miss, Jacoby and Myers or, or whatever,
Jerry H. Parker got the
Los
3.1
defensores,
million.
dos.
No YouTube, no nothing back then.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? Crazy. So, from your perspective, what's the difference between a radio personality and someone who does podcasting? Like, what's the difference to you?
I'll tell you this. With podcasts, I feel like everybody feels they can do a podcast. Everybody, just give me a mic and I'll do a podcast.
I'll just be myself. They think
And I'll
they
be
just-
myself and I'll talk about stupid
Anything.
shit.
Yeah,
anything. And people tune in to stupid shit. In radio, obviously you can't cuss in radio.
Yeah.
No.
So
Yeah.
you have to be a little bit more professional. But in radio, mind you, when you listen to radio, you expect that person to have, you're not going to listen to somebody who comes on the radio and goes, you're listening to DJ Bob. You're like, who's this? Who's this idiot?
no.
You expect that person to have that voice, but you expect that person to also speak, talk about certain things, and portray it. Where in a podcast, a lot of times you expect people that are going to be on there are
Talking crap.
they're
Or
talking
just
shit.
Random,
They're a bunch of
shit.
they're a bunch
Random
they're a
shit.
bunch of levas, they're a bunch of dweebs, they're a bunch of nerds, whatever you want to
yeah,
call them.
true.
This is literally
Yeah,
what you are, And you do, and you pay attention to certain podcasts where you're like, how do these people get a show?
Exactly.
Hey, but if you really pay attention to it, a lot of people like that.
They like the drama.
They like the drama.
They like the drama. They like
stupid shit like that.
They like stupidity.
And now it's
Yeah.
fake because a
Yeah.
lot of
It
them
is.
make up fake shit on podcasting
they
now.
do.
Yeah.
It's anything for clicks and likes.
Yeah.
Hey, before we go any further, I think it's shots fired time.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Shot,
Let's go.
shot.
Shot.
And then we're gonna start a fight so we get clicks and views. All right?
And
Yeah.
then we're
Jerry Springer.
We're already at here at downtown, so we might as well go right here at D Street and start a fight.
It's all bump fights, It's gonna be like what is a semi-pro? Somebody punch somebody. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do exactly.
All right. Well, the way
Thorough.
shots fired works is, you just give a shout out to anything, or if somebody you want to give a shout out, anything you accomplished.
It could be for anything,
Anything.
bro. It's
Anything.
a shout out to anything you want. It's a shot
Yeah.
of whatever it is.
How we started the show, man. I got to give a shot and a shout out to my boy, rest
Where
in
the
peace,
drinks at?
DJ Toucan.
Yes, sir.
There's nothing else that I
Yeah.
can do right now. It's just for him. We're doing a shot. Nothing says more shot and salud like that. So to my brother, mi hermano, DJ Toucan, man.
Rest in
Rest
peace,
in
to
peace.
Toucan, man.
And that's for
Okay.
you, my brother.
Who's next?
I'm gonna give a shout out to DJ Toro for all those years on the radio, giving us the entertainment and all that good music, bro. Shout out to you,
Hey,
brother.
thank you.
I just want to shout out to all my friends, my podcasting, my family. God, thank you for another day of life.
You've said that for 4 shows straight.
I
Change it up.
Putting me on
We're gonna use
blast.
AI on that one to put a different voice on it.
I know. Edit it out.
This is Queen G coming at you all the way live.
Wow. Pour on another one,
All right, so
Joyce?
you know what? My shot is going to go out to all of the radio personalities out there because, like we just said, I know podcasting's popping and shit, but we grew up with radio personalities.
Yes.
Like, we go back to Art
Art
LeBeau,
LeBeau.
Big Boy, Angie Martinez.
Yeah.
Like, these people, bro, are so iconic and they're so nostalgic in our lives, but they open the door for so many things, so many artists. And I feel like radio personalities don't get the love that they should be getting. You know what I'm saying? So my shot goes out to all the radio personalities out there.
El X 97.5.
Oy.
Horra,
What
sí.
station is that?
When I was in Pomona, I used to listen to that.
Well, hola, which one?
X 97.5.
No, that's 97.9, not 5.
97.9.
9 pues.
See,
okay.
oh
Yes.
my God.
You gotta
See,
focus.
who edited this out?
See?
Producer.
She's
okay.
doing
Yeah.
the script. She's
All
doing
right,
the script.
salute.
She's all, I love Power 92.3. What?
Cheers.
Cheers.
She's all, I love 94.3 Kiss FM. Wait, what? What? Oh, man.
Crazy,
Well, that was good. Yeah.
Hell yeah,
That
man.
Centenario, man, it hits.
Yeah.
It does.
So
Warms you up.
Yeah.
Before we switch on radio, there's one thing, too, that we want to talk about with podcasts and radio. Jules, we discussed this. Radio's very political.
Yes.
Where in podcasts, again, you can talk about anything. In radio, you have to stop yourself and watch yourself because you never know who you're going to offend. Here's the thing. People say, like, well, radio's dead. But you say one thing wrong, and you're done.
You're done.
That's it. And in radio, when you're done, you're done. In other words, you don't get a goodbye. You don't get a nothing. When you're done, You're
and
done.
they replace you
Get
like
out.
that.
Get out.
Yes.
So how do you balance that then?
It's hard.
You got to be aware.
You gotta be aware. It's hard because I think it's like anything. It's just like any job. It's here today, and then it's gone. Perfect example. Think about a week ago. Not an arcade. Was there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Then it burned down.
Now it's gone.
And then the girl that worked there, she put up a GoFundMe. Not only did I lose my job, but I lost my car.
Yeah.
What do I do? You know, so imagine if we were in her shoes, like we lose our job and our car tomorrow. First, how do we find a job?
Right.
We don't have a car.
Yeah.
So in this world, like it's very, and not just in anything, like, you know, at least with a podcast or something, when you want to wrap it up, you're done.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can do whatever you want.
is there in that second, and the next second you're gone.
That's
Yeah.
why that day, bro, when you invited us to the station to sit down with you, I really appreciate that because I got a lot of gems from you that day. You were you know, telling us a lot about the radio game. And this is before I got put on to 97.5. And you were saying that. You were like, look, radio is not podcasting. Yeah. Radio is strict. There's a lot of politics. You got to be on point.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
not everybody can do it. In
Yeah,
radio, you
not
have to
everybody
be.
can do
it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in radio, you have to be just prepared. You have to be,
Yeah.
you know, you got to make sure that your delivery. And the one thing is like, it's like, for example, here, there's 4 of us. At least when I do my show, I'm by myself. But how many people are tuning in?
Right.
You know, when I was on Latino 96.3, I remember the first time I did a DJ there with David Rolas and Santa Rosa and all them, Eddie One and all them. And I remember I DJ'd there. And David Rolas told me something that stuck in me. He's like, I was in the studio and I was playing. And he's like, yo, you know, you're literally playing for like 500,000 people right now, right? And I was like, what? He's like, you're in LA. This is the second biggest market in the States. There's literally 500,000 people listening to you right now, Mix. Now imagine if you were in a place and those people were there, how would you feel? How would you DJ? And I was just like, wow, like that's crazy. So in radio, when you're talking, whether it be 2,000 or 2 or 3 or 20,000 or 200,000 people, you always want to make sure you're talking to that person. And then you never know whose day you're going to make by what you say, by what story you talk, by just something like, hey, hope you guys are having a good day. You know, it's Thursday, it's Tuesday. It's you say something and that person might just,
motivational, inspirational,
yeah, you know,
positive.
just always, you know, as hard as it is, you know, for example, what happened today, you know, I had a hard time being on the radio,
It threw
but
you
then
off?
it threw me off. But then you have to, the show must go on.
Right.
It sucks. For DJs, especially when you do this, and independent business owners, is when something happens, you have to keep going.
Keep pushing.
If you lost a family member or you're going through stuff personally, relationships,
Keep pushing.
you have to keep going, and that sucks. There's no days off.
Yeah.
So when you do that, it's like you have to just
Yeah, because you got to
you gotta
depend on
push through.
depend on
you
that
gotta
on that paycheck.
you gotta depend on that, and you have to.
You gotta
Even
kinda
though
push,
inside
yeah.
you're like, oh my God, like
You gotta
this
put that
sucks.
face. You gotta put that
You
front.
You got to. So there's, you know, and again here, like on a podcast, we're here and in this podcast, we're talking about everything that you can't talk about in radio.
Yeah. Right.
And there's a difference of literally what
But you couldn't be talking about this on the radio.
and again, because of the limited time they have.
And,
it's
and you
just-
got to stick to the program.
Yeah,
on the
you gotta
radio.
stick to the program.
You got to stick to the script. You got to
yeah.
stick to what needs to
literally
be said.
our segments are from 30 seconds to maybe 2 minutes
Yeah.
and fit in a story and
Same
stuff and
thing.
all that. I think one of the best things that I laugh is I have a segment on Tuesdays and Thursdays called Nopos Wow. So I find just stories that literally, and I get people
Oh, that's right,
literally
that's right.
write me
You
and they're
were
like,
telling us.
yeah, and they were like, where do you find these stories? And I'm like, the internet is wild.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And in 2025, there have been some stories that literally,
Some
like every
crazy
day,
stories, huh?
I come across 3 or 4 stories every day that I'm like, I'm gonna talk about this, and then I'm gonna talk about it. And I'm like, wait, there's this one, and I'm like, how? Why?
Yeah.
Who? How did this happen? Like, are you shitting me? Like, this is. I was gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna talk about this, and then you're ready to talk about this, and you go,
Hey, something else
wait,
comes up.
what the fuck?
This one.
No post wow, like
This one.
this one,
Yeah.
yeah. And it literally happens sometimes when I'm like, I have a story I've seen, I'll get people that say, this story's great, and I'm like, oh, this story's amazing.
Yeah.
And then I get to my show and that day, I look at something, I'm like, your story was amazing.
amazing.
Now I'm sending you this, and they go, yeah, you're right. Yeah, literally the story, like, yeah, where did you find this? I'm like,
I just found it.
yeah. And I think like when you like, around that, it like you know, it follows you. It comes around. You know, the algorithm on social media is crazy.
It's crazy, bro.
It is.
It's hard to get in, but when you're in, you're in
Man.
there. It's like a washing machine. Shit's just fucking just.
Oh yeah, just
going.
boom, boom,
You know
boom,
what I'm
vamos,
saying?
vamos.
Spinning.
It's spinning, and it
it's
never
crazy,
stops.
Man.
Yeah, it
It's
is crazy, man.
So I want to ask you, like, how do you feel about the DJ game where it stands right now? Because I've always felt like the DJ game has had its ups and downs. You know what I mean? Like it had its moments where it was like it was cool to be a DJ, and then it wasn't cool to be a DJ, and then it had its moments where anybody could be a fucking DJ. Where are you feeling?
It's at its moment where anybody feels that they can be a DJ because they feel it's cool to be a DJ.
So that's where it's at right now.
That's where it's at right now. I feel that it's at like anybody's like, look, I buy a laptop and a controller for $200, and as long as it has wheels and I can blend 2 songs, I'm a DJ. Yeah. So you're like, okay, and I welcome anybody to DJ. Believe me, like all for it, but it's not what everybody thinks.
Hey, it's not easy, bro.
It's not. Everybody thinks it is easy, and
easy,
it's not.
Bro.
People think like, I still recall like, oh, how'd you get on radio? How come I didn't? Well, yeah,
It's harder than what
I did what I did. I'm sure you heard.
Yes.
How come you're on there and I'm not?
Right.
It's hard.
How come you're nominated for the best DJ and I'm not?
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the thing. It's kind of like.
I got that, bro, when if you remember back in 2009, I got nominated for Latin Mix for Best West Coast DJ, and I went to New York. And I literally got emails on MySpace from DJs like, oh, how come you're there and I'm not? I don't know. Yeah. Don't look at me. Like, that's not my fault.
I was just doing my thing.
I was doing my thing. You know what I mean? I went over there and I was with Eddie and I was with Big Syph and everybody, and I was just like, and it was great, but a lot of people really hated. Now, that's one thing that I'm going to tell you this. When you're talking about the DJ game, I'm going to tell you this. There is a DJ game in the high desert, and there's a DJ game in the IE, in the Orange County, and in LA.
LA, yeah.
LA, Orange County, and IE, they work. There's a little bit of hatred, but they work.
Yeah.
Now, HD, hell no.
Haters.
Yeah.
There is no camaraderie with HD DJs whatsoever. If they're tuning in, they're going to get mad. This is the honest truth. There is no support system for DJs in the high desert.
But see, this is where you come in. Okay,
I try.
No, bro. This is why this is important to have him on this show. This is why I really wanted to have him, because he is 100% right. The HD camaraderie is not there when it comes to DJs. But this guy,
strategically,
no, this guy was always he wasn't like that. He was always open to help other DJs, upcoming DJs, put DJs on, and that's why I felt like we got to get you on the show, because I got to give you your flowers, bro. Because you are one of the ones that started that.
Before you continue, that is all I ever wanted to hear, is that, because I felt that I didn't do this because I wanted my flowers. I did this because we can do it. We can. There was something missing here when you go back to talking to the show about the hip hop scene. It's there. Now we're putting shows together, whether it be from rocks to gators to all this stuff, and people are performing. And when I was doing stuff, I put shows on. I had this conversation with my lady all the time where I tell her, you know what? Sometimes I know you get upset about it, but at times I just wish I got my flowers. I don't want a big show or a hug, but I just wanted somebody to go, you know what? Thank you, because the sad part is I've put so many DJs on.
Yes.
And now I'm not at a point in my life where I need, but I'm like, you know what? Hey, like, let me reach out to you. Like, hey, I got this. And I get a lot of, yeah. And that's it. But when y'all needed me, I never gave you a yeah. Even till this day, I'm still putting people on as much as I can and seeing if I can't put you on here, go here. I'll put you on here.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. I got a person who hit me up about being in LA. What can I do? I said, I know some people, but it's hard. If you get on there, great. Right. I can try to put you on. I've tried myself, but it's hard. Now, if you get on there, great. But the sad part is, even though I gave you that advice, when I go out to you, you're going to be like, I did it on my own. Why? How come you can't?
Yeah.
And then that's what, to me, it's like, so for you to hear me, you say that, honestly, it makes me feel great, because I don't want it, but for somebody to say it, for me, it's like, thank you. Yeah. That's all I want to hear. Yeah. I don't need a show, a celebration. I don't need flowers and beer and champagne.
You need to give, people do need to give honor where honor's due.
You just want to feel like you're appreciated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this is why I said, like, I love doing this podcast thing, because I get to do that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not kissing ass to nobody.
No.
Like, I'm only speaking the real, bro, because like I said, I've known you since I was like 16 years old.
Yeah.
You think I don't know what this guy has done and what he's brought to the table out here? A lot. I've always looked at you. I told people this all the time, that whoever bring you up, I say, Toro is like the big brother out here to the DJs. And I know, like you said, you don't get that in return a lot.
No.
You know, and I know, but you always kept it real, and you always kept it yourself, and you're very honest. You're very honest about, you know, you give what do you call it? Criticism that like productive. You know what I mean? Like,
I think some people sometimes get mad because I'm too honest.
Yeah.
And I get it, but I feel that that's what's missing now.
Yeah.
Is being
But
honest.
we need that.
Yeah, being, you know, just giving you that like.
That raw.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like we need
Constructive
it.
criticism.
So it sucks
Yeah.
because people are so soft now.
Yeah.
Way too soft.
But I just wanted to thank you, man. Like that was like
I
one of the
appreciate
big
that.
reasons why. Because I tell
And
them
thank
all
you
the
for
time.
that. So and thank you guys for that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. Hey, thank you.
Clap for real.
Shot out.
Yeah.
Another shot. Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
because I had a wish list for when I first started this chop shop, you know, with Nesto, and we would go over the list, and you were on there, and I was kind of like, yeah, because this is my opportunity to give this guy his flowers,
And we
give
were
this
trying-
guy his flowers.
We were trying to get you on for the longest time, bro.
No, I know.
But I know
remember.
you got a busy schedule
before
and stuff.
before we
so-
started filming.
Yeah.
I talked to him on the phone.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, I'm gonna start this podcast. I got to get you on there. You know what I'm saying? But like, that's really what this show is about. Is to give people their flowers and
Shine.
give where credit is due.
Yeah, my schedule's wild, man.
Yeah. But
I
it's all
get
good.
I get hit up every day. Like, how
Yeah,
do I
yeah,
do it?
yeah.
And honestly, it's like I do. I sometimes sit there and I question myself. I'm like, how do I do this?
Can I request a song?
Sure. I can't get jiggy with this shit. Yeah. But yeah, it's like, yeah, sometimes I do it. There's times that I do and I sit there and I'm like, how do I do with this shit? Like, man,
Yeah.
like people, do you get tired? And I'm like, I do. Surprisingly, I do.
Long
But
nights.
Yes. And there is days like, you know, now with the AM show and everything, like it's not kicking my ass, but it's like, man, like
It's tiring.
when I get that day of just doing nothing, I'm like, literally.
So I remember a few years, well, it was a while back, you were starting to get into like artist development, artist management.
Yes.
What happened with that? Is that something you still want to dabble in
I've
or
always wanted to do. The problem with artists is the problem with anybody that gets a little bit of clout, ego.
Ego,
Ego
man.
We
know all about that too.
Yeah.
Ego is a motherfucker, man. Like people with ego, that's you. I've done this game for so long where I know the ins and outs, and I tell people. The problem is when you tell people, they think, especially, you know, like we gotta remember when we were younger, older people used to tell us stuff, and what do we think? Shut up. You don't know shit. Now we're at that age where, you know, especially like Joel's, we've done this for so long that we know, and then when we tell the younger, what do they do? Look at us.
You don't know shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then when that happens to them, you look at them and go, ¿Qué te dije, güey?
Told you.
Yeah.
I told you, but it happens. But we're to the point now, like I'm at to a point where I'm like, don't let it happen. We're telling you for a reason.
So take
We've
notes.
been,
Take
we've
notes.
been there. We've been there.
We've been there. Like we're telling you, like, don't do this because you're gonna eat shit.
Right.
But they still do it, and then when you do, and then what's the first thing they tell you? Don't make fun of me. I told you.
I try to tell you.
I try to tell you. Well, don't rub it in my face. We told you.
Right.
Yeah, key thing, don't burn bridges.
Yeah, exactly. The best thing, I think the best quote that I even still to this day is never step on the toes of the. No, sorry. Hold on. Let me remember because.
Yeah, let's say this right before we
Yeah,
fuck
I
it
want to
up.
say it right before I mess it up. Yeah. The toes you step on today might be connected to the ass you kiss tomorrow.
Nice.
I don't kiss ass.
Bar. That's a bar.
Yeah.
So write that down. Put that shit in the
Write
song.
that down, you know?
Hey, that's a hook.
I'm putting that on my Facebook right now. I'm putting that on my TikTok story. I'm
Put
going,
it
woo!
on X. Put it on X.
Put it on your
Yeah, and my boy
MySpace.
Bo from the Hookah Lounge told me that, and when he told me that, it's stuck in my mind. And every once in a while, I put it on social media just to remind people. It's like just remember that.
You gotta
because
be open-minded on
You
everything.
have
bro.
to.
You have to.
to.
You can't be
Yeah. Nope, not
closed-minded
close-minded.
because that's how you end up burning bridges.
Yeah, you end up burning bridges.
Yeah.
And then I feel like a lot of people here, they burn them and they go, I don't care.
I don't
and then
need 'em.
they go somewhere else where they get, they go and they get hired and they're like, I didn't need y'all. But then what happens? And when they burn those bridges, they try to come back here and you're like,
Especially
And,
the
and,
high
it's
tea.
and it's crazy that not even that. Sometimes they're like, oh, I don't need him, but then they go with somebody else. Yet they don't even know that person is linked to you. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, well,
So that's when you kind of sit there and do this the
Yeah.
whole time. You just go.
Told you.
With your shades on.
Yeah.
With your shades
And
on.
then-
Shades on.
And then that person comes to you and they go, hey, so your boy or your girl hit me up, and you're like,
I know.
And then they're literally looking at you going, uh-huh.
Right.
And they're telling you as they're laughing, and you're just sitting there going, uh-huh, uh-huh. And you're like, and you go,
Okay.
okay. And they'll tell you, I'll handle it. Let me deal with it. And then you'll know what happens.
Right, right.
And they give that person that chance. First mess up. Bye.
Gone.
Adios.
Crazy.
Adios.
So man, me and you, we've had a lot of fun gigs together. Silent disco.
Oh man,
Silent
great.
disco was fun, bro.
Silent disco.
Same thing, bro. You brought that to the table. You brought that to us. You gave us opportunity to be a part of that. You didn't have to do that.
That was crazy, man. I remember when they hit me up from the fairgrounds, they were like, hey, Jeff, when he was still there, was like, hey, man, I want to do silent disco. What do you think? And I said, let's do it. He's like, do you know what it is? I said, I've seen it. Yeah. It's actually pretty good. Yeah. I think it's a great idea. He's like, do you think it's too new? And I'm like, no, we need it. Let's do it. And we did it. I still get mad at Jeff. No, he's gone now. He's not at the fairgrounds anymore. When he told me, he's like, I got a chance to bring this artist to the fairgrounds. What do you think? But she's going to charge me 40 grand. And I'm like, do it. No. And then it passed. And then he's like, I should have brought her. It was Becky G.
Oh,
and I'm like,
are you serious?
This was the beginning of Becky G. I remember that.
And when he told me, I was like, come on, let's do it, man. Like, bring her. And he did it. And he literally kicked his ass for like 2 years going, I should have brought her because she was like, her song, the Block one.
The first one. It was her first song.
Yes.
Remember she was rapping and singing?
Yes. She was there and then she had another one that was taken off. So it was pretty good. So she was already
the one singing in the shower. That song singing in the shower.
Yeah, singing in the shower and all that stuff. Yes. That's when she still had her gap.
That's
so
right.
I was like, man, you should have brought her because she was, pretty. She could have been good, you know. Man. Yeah, so we had that, and then of course you remember Walmart. I know you got to remember Walmart.
That's what I was gonna bring up. Walmart. That was a fun one too, and we did that. How many years?
We did that we did that for about 4 years before COVID. And for those of you, quick story. Yeah, we used to DJ at Walmart for Black Friday. I'm looking at the camera so you guys know. We start Black Friday and go for a week. And we would go 23 hours a day, 2 DJs.
No, the warehouse, right? For the warehouse.
And for the warehouse. And people are like, what do you do? We just play music. Well, what do you do? We just play music for the people. Why? Well, because at Walmart, that's their busy time. And then Monday, remember I used to tell you guys, Monday is Cyber Monday. And they would get crazy busy.
I remember you telling me like, we're DJing for Walmart.
Oh yeah, we would do it for like a week. I'm like, what? Yeah, for a few days.
I would get a hotel and we would all stay there in case like we'd have to. And we would DJ for like 7 hours straight.
That's crazy.
That's so creative.
Yeah. So we would do, it was 23 hours.
One was on this side, another DJ was on the other side.
And now it's the warehouse, right?
Yep. Yeah. We did it. It was Joel's, it was Amore, Oz, 100, Juice, myself. I'm trying to think of who else I brought in there.
Oz was there, huh?
Oz was there. Yeah. Like I said, Amore, I said 100. Chanclas. Yeah, we brought them in. It was like, man.
Chanclas,
yeah, man. It was like, well, because you got to remember, like, we had to, so it was 7 hours.
Slick Boogie was supposed to do it with us, remember?
Yeah, one time he couldn't do it. Yeah, he couldn't do it because the schedule, it was hard because you had to literally, and we were in Chino.
Shout out to Slick Boogie.
So we had to drive down there to Chino. Yep. So that's where we did it. So that's why I got a hotel.
It was down the hill.
It was down the hill in Chino, man.
I thought it was right here.
No. We had to stay in a hotel.
That's crazy.
We all stayed.
It was across the street from the Chino airport, man.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It was dope.
Yeah.
Hey, how about this one gig, bro? I know you remember this shit. This shit was funny as hell. You had a gig. It was for a school dance.
Oh man, which one?
The one out there. It wasn't Mesa Linda. It was somewhere. Was it? No, not Oak Hills. Somewhere out there. But anyways. You asked for my help, and you were like, hey, come, you can only DJ for like half of it, and you want me to do the rest, or you want me to start it.
Oh, I think it was something like that. Yeah, it was a school
dance.
Wasn't it like they were like, it was
for middle school.
Yeah, it was a middle school or something. It was like their gym or something, but it felt like it was outside or something like that. It was a concrete, right?
So we're in there, right? So we're in there, and then he's DJing, and I'm sitting there next to him. We're just chilling. Remember that little girl asked if I wanted to dance with her?
Yes. And I'm like... And she literally is looking at him, not like looking at him like come dance with me. And I'm like,
she's like, can you dance with me? And I was like, what? Girl, I'm old enough to be your fucking dad.
I'm like, this ain't R. Kelly. He's my employee. Like, calm down. Like, relax. Like,
I remember me and you were busted up. And
we're like, no.
You were like, fucking Joel just got asked. From a junior high girl and shit.
Yeah, don't take pretty boy nowhere. You know what I mean? Like, God, chingao, you know? Oh, my stars. You know what I mean? Like, wow, are you really asking him for her? Are you really asking him for a dance? Like, oh, wow.
Yeah, hell no, man.
You're too pretty, Jules. That's why. That's what it is.
Oh, man, that was all bad. I remember that shit, though. I was like, never again, Toro. Don't fucking ask me to help you again, bro.
Man, school dances have to be the hardest to do.
Yeah. Those are tough. Yeah.
Because them kids, like, and then they want all that TikTok shit.
Yeah.
And then I remember you said, you go, watch this. He goes, watch this. He goes, I'm going to play. This is their school anthem right here. They go fucking crazy. I go, all right, cool. And it's fucking Katy Perry Firework.
Oh, my gosh.
I just did Excelsior. Shout out to them. I'm doing a dance with them coming up in May. And I played Katy Perry. what's crazy to me is that you play Baby Justin Bieber at school dances and they go crazy.
Nuts.
You're like
crazy.
I had my brother-in-law with me. And I said, watch what I'm going to do. And I played it. And he's like, he's looking at me. He's like, really? He's up. I'm up.
Crazy.
I don't know what it is, but they like that song.
Yeah.
Crazy, man.
That is La Chona. You play La Chona.
For sure.
That's it. It's over.
The wettest or the whitest, man. They're out there like, oh my God,
for
La
sure.
Chona. You know?
I don't know how to dance this, but I'm going out there.
Oh my stars. This is La Chona. You know? Like, oh.
So you know what, Toro? I know you got to go. I know you got a gig.
Yes,
but,
sir.
Before you go, where can everybody find you at? Where can they tune in with you on the radio? Everything you got going on. You know, what's your plug?
So you guys can follow me on Instagram, on social media, on Instagram, Facebook, and X at DJ Toro13, DJ TORO13. And then I'm on La X Monday through Friday. I do 2 shows right now. I'm doing 6 to 10 a.m., which is mornings. And I do mediodía, middays from 12 to 3. So just a little fill-in right now on that. And then after that, I'm on HD, Monday through Fridays from 3 to 7. And then Saturdays, 12 to 5.
Nice.
So that's where I'm at on the radio. Yeah, where you guys can tune in. And then, of course, follow me on social media to see where I'm going to be DJing.
Cool.
Follow me. Follow me.
That's
you
right.
don't follow me, I'm going to be mad.
That's
I'm
right.
going to be
Follow
hurt.
my boy,
Follow
man.
him.
Yeah.
Follow
Can I
my
call
boy.
in and make a request?
No, because I already know what you want. I can't get jiggy with this
Hey, you
shit.
gotta block her. Block her.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I got a request. Yeah.
No, but you know what? Like I said, before we go, man, I just want to make sure we give you your flowers because you
Thank you.
deserve it, bro.
Thank
I'm
you. I
dead
appreciate
serious, man. I'm so glad that I have a relationship with you.
Yes.
Being a good friend of mine,
Yes, sir.
and you taught me a lot in this business. Like I said, you were always a big brother to me, and you deserve everything that comes your way, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate that from you guys.
Hey,
Thank you
hell
very
yeah.
much, man.
Bravo, bravo.
Thank you guys.
Hey, bravo, bro.
Thank you guys as well for the show. Thank you guys for having this. I think it's great. I paid attention to many episodes of it, and I think it's cool.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Stop saying hi to the same people. Change it. Cámbiale. Next time, watch for the next shot. It's gonna be like this shot is for it's for Toro because he called me out. And he's gonna walk out. And be
On
like,
the next show, watch.
and he's gonna walk out.
On
and
the
be like,
next
"I'm
one."
That's right. That's
Be
right.
like, so now it's Joel's and Nesta on the chop shop. It's not. We don't have a
Jason.
female anymore.
Yeah, we don't have Queen G no more.
You're gonna put him in. He's gonna be like,
It's all
what am I
good.
doing? He's gonna be sitting like this.
Yeah.
Say something.
He's gonna have the pillow like the Queen G position like this.
You be hugging the pillow.
You're gonna tell Jay, say something. He's gonna be like, Queen G left.
Shout out to us again.
I know. Give me a shot.
Well, big up to DJ Toro, man.
Hey,
Hell
thank you
yeah,
guys, man. I
that's
appreciate
great
that. Thank you
episode.
guys for having me,
bro.
man.
Thank you for
So
coming.
yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. You guys can catch us on Urban Soul TV. You can catch us on YouTube, Roku TV, Fire Stick TV, Apple TV. If you got a damn TV, you can watch our shit. Okay, so yes, this is the Chop Shop, and we out. Peace.
Vámonos.